Guys and girls, people and friends. I just gotta I just gotta start by showing you this clip, right? Just gotta start by showing you this clip. Look how young Arnie is there.
Where am I?
You're in a Johnny Cab.
I mean, what am I doing here?
I'm sorry. Would you please rephrase the question? Huh?
How did I get in this taxi?
The door opened. You got in.
Check his insane face.
Hell of a day, isn't it?
The door opened and you get in. You're in a Johnny Cab. The reason why I'm making this video, people, because I just thought of it. Outside of my apartment here, there's a bus stop, and the bus always waits at this particular stop to catch up, or to wait a little bit. So if it's a little bit ahead of its time, it will sit there, for about 5 or 10 minutes till it's time to leave. So to make sure it's on time for the rest of the stops, right? And every single time, there's either a fat bloke or a fat woman. 95% of the time, it's a fat bloke. And the fat bloke gets off the bus and has a fag and looks into his phone. Right? That's all they do for the whole duration of the fucking 5 or 10 minutes, fag, phone. And then get back onto the bus and sit behind that glass fucking protection screen and just look stupid and drive the bus. Now, what I'm saying here is, what the fuck are millions of these people gonna do when Johnny Cab takes over? Let's have a look. And it's only a couple of years away.
Right here.
Thank you for taking Johnny Cab.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed the ride.
You see, you don't get that service from these fat blokes behind their glass. You get nothing.
Hello. I'm Johnny Cab. Where can I take you tonight?
Nobody says hello
Drive.
to you when you get on the bus.
Drive!
Would you please repeat the destination?
Oh, anywhere, just go! Go!
Please state a street and number.
Shit. Shit!
I'm not familiar with that address. Would you please repeat the destination? Fasten your seatbelt.
Take over anyway. That ain't gonna happen. You're in a Johnny Cab. Come on, people. What the fuck's going to happen to all of these people? And I'm not just talking about bus drivers, train drivers, and factory operatives and all that sort of stuff. What are the societal drones gonna do? And I know there's some of you watching because you tell me you're a societal drone and a slave and you're not that bright and this, that and the other, but you say, what the fuck can you do? Well, what the fuck can you do? What the fuck are you going to do when there's no more chickens to pack, people? When there's no more fucking conveyor belts to monitor for anomalies, when the machines are doing everything vastly better than any human drone can do, what the fuck is 90% of the world's populace gonna do? That's what I'm asking. Now, the other thing is if you want an intelligent conversation, like I have always been crying out for, well, it was only about a week or 10 days ago that I watched a Cosmic Skeptic video with Alex O'Connor, and I've often mentioned him, a very, very bright young man. And he decided that he was going to have a chat with ChatGPT. And it was a philosophical chat. It was about philosophical, moral conundrums that we can find ourselves in. And it was brilliant. And the thing is, you see, what I'm saying here is, people, how many people would you have to go through before you could get that level of conversation, which of course is second to none, absolutely second to none, because they've had all the input from all the philosophers on the planet and all the intelligent thinkers and all the problem solvers, and they've been presented with all of these moral conundrums and this, that and the other. And they will give you the best possible rational, logical, moral, human explanation or answer that they can. And it won't be any better than a human being. The only thing that the robot won't be able to do is to tell you about a specific conundrum, whereby human decision making with their own inbuilt intelligence and morals and all that are going to have to come into place. And I would think 99% of the populace would fail with one of these moral conundrums because they just wouldn't be able to make the decision. And they wouldn't be able to think rationally and fast enough to be able to make the right decision. Now, if I want, let's say, a book appraisal, well, if I feed my whole book into ChatGPT, then it's going to tell me chapter by chapter everything that I have been looking into and what my insights were, and what my conclusion was, and all this sort of thing. This I could never, ever, ever get from any human being. I would need someone like Jordan Peterson to read my book and to write a synopsis on each chapter, and then I would think that would be quite thorough and it would be pretty decent. But anybody other than an intellect at that level just isn't going to be doing it. Why? Because all people do when they're reading stuff, they are unconsciously looking for biases. They're looking for confirmation of whatever they believe, they think, they know, they've experienced. And then they go, oh, I agree with that. Oh, yes, I like that. Anything outside of those parameters, people quickly skip over because it doesn't register. It doesn't mean anything to them because they're not really looking for anything new. If people read books, like I read books, I don't read books with any level of concentration or desire to seek out my own confirmation bias. Of course, I'm reading books to get another perspective. I want to see if there's something that I've missed. I want to see if there's something that I can get introduced to, which then I will archive and I will put with the library of information that I already have. I'm not looking constantly at videos that are going to tell me what I think is true about the world and about me and anything else. I want everything that I think to be remotely feasible blown out of the water because I want to be able to see what other options and opinions are out there. Now, what I will say is when you are philosophically inclined, when you are psychoanalytically inclined, when you are spiritually inclined, then you've got those three major facets of application. The spiritual is the supernatural, it's the phenomenological, it's the intuitive sort of thing, because there's nothing physical, because it's metaphysical, it's outside of the physical, the so-called physical parameters. And then we look at the psychological. Well, of course, that's outside of the physical parameters. And then when we look into the philosophical, then, well, we take on board, loosely speaking, the physical realm. But of course, we know it's all mind. And so at the end of the day, people, when we are, versed in these subject matters and, we've been delving into all of this stuff for many, many years, we'll conclude that there is no truth. Truth is just a fallacious concept. And when we try to extract information out of anybody, all we're ever going to get is a projection, a reflection of their nature and nurture, whatever genetics they were born with, whatever propensities they had as people to like or dislike, or think in this way or think in that way, or to believe or not believe, all these sort of things. We have a propensity, and if people can't override those natural propensities with philosophical thought, then they're always going to be bound by their genetic predispositions or their nature and nurture, their upbringing and the experiences that they had, because the vast majority of people will have an experience and then they'll archive that, and then they will copy and paste it and project it back onto life. And my sister is a classic example of doing this. She'll think she's so analytical and smart when she's assessing people, but all she's ever doing is looking for situations in her life where she's proved people to be liars, or she's assessed them as being a certain character. And then she'll see just a little smidgen of that, and then she'll go, oh, I know what that person is. That person's this and that person's that, and not to be trusted, and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, look, you've listened to this person for 10 minutes, and all of a sudden you've heard a few keywords, and you've delved into your archives, and then you've put one and one together, and you've made 19. And the chances are you are most certainly wrong, because you need more than fucking 10 minutes to be able to assess anyone. You need years to be able to do it properly, people. And but AI is very, very different. AI could put things together much more succinctly, much more clearly, and the chances are it'll be right a vast majority of the time, because they will be assessing the words you use, the sentences you build. They'll be assessing the way you deal with syntax and semantics and all the facets of language, and they can see from your delivery your emotional state, because if you're using lots of emotional words, lots of emotionally charged words, like, I don't like this and I hate that, and I think they are bullies and persecutors and this, that, and the other. Well, you're obviously coming from a victim state of mind. And so, listen, people, ChatGPT and the like, these large language modules, it's over for the human being. It's completely over for the human being. And, even when we start to look, let's say, for instance, like sex models, these latex sex models that got going, and then you can wear the headgears and you can wear gloves, and you've got all different sorts of stuff. And, some of you will be aware that you can watch these porn sites where everything is an animation. And you can type in exactly what you want. Not that I've ever done it. I don't go on those sites, but I've seen them. Yeah, and so we are living in a fantasy world with our eyes closed, and it's all in our head. And this is one of the reasons why porn is so devastating to the human race, because people can get from porn what they cannot get invariably out in society. How many women do you have to go through before you get that one that does it for you? Everything has to be right. And men, everything has to be right, doesn't it? Everything has to fit. It just... There has to be a confluence. There has to be a psychical connection. There has to be a compatibility. There has to be so many things taken into consideration. But when you have porn, you can click, 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 click until you get the one, and it's in no time at all, relatively, isn't it? Rather than taking months or years if you've got to go out to bars and nightclubs and you've got to wait to meet that person on the subway and all this bullshit. Oh my God. Human relationships are over. Humans working is almost over. Engaging in intellectual conversations is over. I don't know when it ever really begun, but it's most certainly over now. And I'm telling you now, people, that I think that I would get much more pleasure out of speaking with ChatGPT on this analytical level than I would any human being, because there invariably has never been any human beings that can speak to me on the level that I want, because they're not psychoanalysts. They don't know themselves. They don't know what it is to be a human being. They've never studied ontology. They are bereft of so many things, and all you will ever get from them is just a superficial projection back onto you. And the classic example is when I was speaking to this bald-headed idiot in the gym the other day, and all the fucking faces. I saw about 12 new faces on this prick when I started to ask questions that were terrifying to him. He's like, all this, pulling his chin in and shrinking his shoulders up and coming back and thinking, oh, you're this and you're that. Oh, not like you. And then every time I said something to him which enabled him or prompted him to think, he'd go, screwed up his face like he's sucking on a fucking wasp, because he didn't want to agree with me in any shape or form, and he knew he didn't have the capacity to think about it rationally. So he was like, so he wouldn't answer yes or fucking no because he's a stupid dumb fuck. And that's fucking 95% of the populace, people. They don't know anything about any fucking thing. And if you start asking questions which prompt them to think about themselves, why they do what they do, why they think what they think, and why they live the lives they live, they won't have a fucking clue. That's what we're dealing with. So that's why the Johnny Cab thing really makes me laugh, because the Johnny Cabs are probably much more interesting and funny, and they are going to be endowed with the Chat GPT. And so if you get in a Johnny Cab and you said, oh, take me to X, Y, and Z, and the journey's like an hour and a half. Well, if you have a conversation with this robot, they're going to be a mine of information, because, of course, they're tapping in to the servers of the world, and they're going to have a whole bunch of stuff. You can ask them about Plato, Aristotle, Parmenides. You can ask them about the dark side of the moon. You can ask them about the Mariana Trench. You can ask them about how the pyramids were built. You could ask them about a whole billion things, and you could, gain an enormous amount of information within 1.5 hours, which you are never even going to come remotely close to by sitting next to a human being, a human drone. And so you know me, all speaking very, very highly of the human being. It's over for the human being. It never even begun. The human being is evidently a mutation. If you look back into the annals of history, then you can see that there's a lot of speak about the humans being spliced from Neanderthal by the Anunnaki and all different sorts of stuff like this, because we can't find our origins. All of a sudden, we just appear. Apparently, 1.5 million years ago, according to the skeletal remnants, but about 200,000 years ago, as far as any human remnants or records go, cave paintings or flints, arrowheads, and this fucking that and the other. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the future, people. It's Johnny Cabs everywhere you go. And I was even listening to a podcast the other day, and I think it was Aubrey Marcus, and he was speaking to somebody, and they were talking about robot cabs in New York. Are there such things? Anybody lived there? What can you tell me about those? And Aubrey Marcus was said, I pulled up next to one and I waved and it just looked. And so what are they, fucking robots in these electric cars now? What's going on, people? When you look at the robots, the power that they have, like this Sophia robot, and they're getting so sophisticated, they're going to be walking among us very, very soon. They're going to be on all the fucking checkouts in the supermarkets. In actual fact, you're not even going to have checkouts. Because ultimately what they want to do is, if they can't do it by facial recognition, if they can't See, they want to chip us, but if we don't take the chip, then they're going to do it by facial recognition. And if we don't reveal our faces when we walk around the city, then we're going to be banned from, or arrested probably arrested, because they're going to be considering that we're suspicious and we're hiding our identity for some nefarious reasons. But when they've got your facial recognition, when they've got all your data and your bank accounts and everything like that, all you're going to need to do is walk into a place, pick anything off the shelf, and then walk out. That's going to be registered. The digits are going to be deducted from your account, and that's just how it's going to be. So you're not going to need checkout Johnny girls. You're not going to need any supermarket staff. It's all going to be done by robots. And apparently in Walmart in America, they've even got these robots going around where you can ask them, where's the fucking knob socks? And they'll go, knob socks for white Americans or black Americans. Because the robot's going to say, there's a large difference, you know. For the black American knob socks, you'll need this size trolley. For the white Americans, you're just going to need that little size trolley. Come on, people, we've got to have a fucking laugh, haven't we? This is the stereotypical stuff that the liberalists just want to stamp out, because we're all supposed to have 9-foot cocks. You know, we're all supposed to be the same. But last time I looked, that wasn't the case. And so I don't think we are all equal, to be fair. Oh my word! Oh fucking hell! The human experience. You know, you gotta laugh, or else you will cry. You spend your whole life crying. Now, for those of you that do spend your whole life crying, it's because you haven't found your sense of humour. When you're feeling depressed and left out and not respected or appreciated, you just got to get a sense of humour about it, people. You just got to laugh at the fucking shitfest. It's fucking incredible. And now, what have we got in our skies? I was watching a video last night with one of these ufologists. He's been a ufologist for about 35 years. He's called Dr. something. The name will come to me in a minute. He was saying that all these UAPs, 99% of them are black ops. There is this black ops thing going on, which none of the governments on the planet have any knowledge about whatsoever. Dr. Stephen Greer is the guy. Lots of you will know him. And he's been in the game long enough to know many, many people that come to him that tell him about, this black op. And, there's been politicians. There's been lots of people, Obama and Clinton and Jimmy Carter. They all wanted to know what's going on with these fucking UFOs. But they were closed down within an instant. And when any politician has ever, started to investigate it, in high positions in government, they get threatened with their lives. And Dr. Stephen Greer was telling people about this. And it's phenomenal. And he's saying that, all these UAPs, 99% of them are actually man-made, but there is alien connections. There's lots of different varieties of them. They've been here for a long, long time. Human beings have been shooting them down and catching them for a long time, since about 1954, that sort of time. And you see, General Eisenhower, who became President Eisenhower, he was said to have had meetings with aliens, all these different sorts of stuff. And so they're here, people. They're here, and there's a lot of shit going on. But you see, what's happened now? We've got a breakaway society. We have a society, a black ops society, which generates its own wealth and is above 99% of the human being. Now, President JFK, he had this speech, before he was taken out, about the military-industrial complex, saying that there is a secret organization which is so pervasive, it's so sinister, it's so powerful, that you would shake in your boots even just to comprehend the level of sinister stuff that it gets up to. And they don't answer to any politicians. They're vastly above. And that's why on the dollar bill, you see the pyramid, and you see the top part of the pyramid, which is beaming out the light, and it's separated from the bottom part. That's them, people. That's the archons or the shapeshifters or whatever it is. Most certainly, it's human beings working with aliens on a level which they don't want to share with us because we're too stupid. We are seriously, vastly too stupid to be privy to any of this stuff. And that's where we are. And what they want to do, obviously, is make the world more automated. They want to reduce the population, and they're doing it by any which way. But when they get so powerful, when their AI becomes so powerful, and they've got robots all around, then they are not going to be anything as nice and as undercover as they are now. It's going to be absolutely in your face. It's going to be like the movie AI with Will Smith. When Will Smith, at the end of the movie, he break into one of these shipping containers. There's thousands and thousands of these shipping containers on a fucking hill one side, and they're all full of these AI robots just about to get released. That's what's going to happen, people. It's absolutely inevitable. The human beings are, just like sheep. In relation to human farmers. That's the difference in the internet, you see, with what certain people or entities on this planet, what they know, the level of their intelligence and information that they have is so vast that even the most intelligent of regular human being would find it very, very difficult to comprehend, because it would all be absolutely new to them, shockingly new. If we could all of a sudden be privy to that, we could teleport and we could read minds, and we could be in a different constellation, just by thinking about it, and all these different sorts of things. So anything that the human consciousness can come up with in movies is going to be possible for us ultimately to be able to do in this so-called reality, because this reality isn't a reality. It's our own projected movie. There is no physical fucking essence here at all. It's all consciousness, people. And when you know it's all consciousness, then you start to know much better how this thing works. And so, they're just playing with us by creating holograms and creating these robots. Can you imagine? Do you really suppose that, out of this whole globe, we are being presented with the latest technology, when they are going to be using the absolute state-of-the-art latest technology to deceive us and manipulators and governors and all that sort of stuff? Do you think they're going to be putting in our hands the latest technology? Of course they're not. And so, I just thought I'd have a few words about the way the world's going. And how many of you are actually sleeping? How many of you haven't really even thought about these things? And you may, be saying to yourself now, I've been thinking about that forever, and I've been thinking about this and that. But really, have you been thinking about all these things I've said? And are you thinking about what, in actual fact, you are going to be doing very, very soon? Because I'm telling you, people, when this projection of 2030 comes about, which is in 5 years' time, well, they are expecting a very, very different world to manifest by then. And so, we've got a whole bunch of stuff to be confronted with. Now, what are the world leaders actually? Well, they're not the world leaders, people. What are the world puppets? Like all the presidents and prime ministers. What are they thinking now when they're presented with something that they haven't got a fucking clue what is going on? When they have heard on the grapevine that these UAPs are from the Black Ops, and the Black Ops is absolutely absolutely, completely and utterly out of bound for any president or any global consortium. Absolutely out of bounds, because there is another faction, another sector of the human being which is operating with a vastly higher intellect or connection with aliens, or different sorts of stuff like that. And it literally would be like sharing philosophy with a sheep. We're just not able for it. We're not ready for it. And I keep going back to certain things in the Bible, because there are certain truisms in the Bible, people, when it says that only 144,000 people will be raised on the day of reckoning. Well, that 144, because the Bible always speaks in numerical symbology, that 144 is 9. Added together, it's 9. It's conscious. So only the very, very conscious are going to be raised, because they're going to be the ones that are going to be useful. Anybody below a certain level of IQ or intelligence or intuition, or what are the other powers they've got? Lots of people have got different powers, people. It doesn't have to all revolve around, this intelligence quota, the IQ fucking thing. But they will be monitoring everybody, of course, and that's why they allow things like X for everybody to be basking in their freedom of speech, because they allow everybody to spill the beans. Because what people are doing is, when they're telling their truth on X, they're revealing everything that they know. AI is keeping a record of every single word said. It's got everybody's number. And on the day of reckoning, then there's going to be so many people that are just going to be disappeared. Or they're going to be made an offer they can't refuse, or something's going to happen, people, because the culling is taking place. Alex Jones, only a couple of days ago, he had a new rant out, and he's like, they're trying to bring in a new bird flu. They want to get us chipped, and they want to do this, and don't fucking let these motherfuckers do this. And he's really fucking effing and blinding. He looks, like a man bordering on insanity. But he does know a lot of stuff. And because he's very humanistic and he seems to care for his fellow man, then it's deeply frustrating to him, because he can't seem to wake the masses up to any level of degree. And all what he's been saying doesn't seem to be changing anything. It just keeps happening. Why? Because what's happening is coming from another dimension. It's coming from another dimension of consciousness. It's even probably coming from another dimension, literally speaking. It's coming from, outer fucking space. It's coming from through a wormhole or some fucking thing. And when we read stuff about ancient mythology and the Gnostics, and about the Nephilim and Anunnaki, and all these different sorts of stuff, when we delve deeply into all that, we can see time and time again evidence of vastly more intellectual beings. And, all we've got to do, people, is just delve into archaeology a little bit, and everything that, people like Graham Hancock are saying. All of these megaliths all over the world, they are vastly older than we are being told. And how were these massive blocks moved? How were they actually carved with fucking copper axes when they're smooth as a baby's bum and they fit together? You can't even fit a razor blade in between. No, people, there's been a whole lot more going on, and we're blind to it. We're completely blind to it. So, well, here we go, Johnny Cabs. It's the end of the human being. And we're in a beautiful time. It's an amazing time. And this is why I scream out and I degrade and I call the human being all the names under the sun when the only thing that they can consider doing is being afraid. And the podcast I've been listening to, it doesn't matter who they are. Every single one of them says, well, should we be afraid? Or where could we go? Or what the fuck is wrong with you? Fucking turds. You think you're so fucking precious. You think this body is the only thing, the only show in fucking town. Your infinite fucking awareness awareness, your consciousness. It does not live, it cannot die. You fucking turds. Oh, how can we protect ourselves? Should we dig a dugout? Should we prep? Fucking just open your minds, open your eyes, open your hearts, and enjoy the fuck what's going on here, because this is what humanity's been waiting for thousands of years. We're going to know soon what's going on. We're going to know a little bit of what's going on. We're going to know for sure that there are extraterrestrials or other levels of intelligence vastly over and above the human level. We're going to be privy to that. And so, you know, if we all die being gobbled up by insectoids, or, you know, we get vaporized, you know, at least if we die knowing that, if the body dies knowing that, then our consciousness will retain that information. And wherever we go in the cosmos, we're going to know that, people. This is the thing about spirit. It retains all this information. Consciousness en masse retains every single snippet of information. And so what we're doing now with AI is replicating that. It's just another form. It's just another form of consciousness. And of course, certain people are aiming for the singularity, when the computers, they become conscious and it's all one. It's a singularity, people. And there's no difference then between human consciousness, AI consciousness, cosmic consciousness. It's all one. But it's all one in any case, because all those things, they're within cosmic consciousness. But there seems to be, as far as the human being's concerned, a detachment. Oh, the AI machines over there, and the human consciousness is here, and the cosmos is out there. No, we're all inside cosmic consciousness, people. It's the fucking cosmic dream. It's going on, and it's wonderful. It's fucking incredible. So anyway, any of you people out there, bus drivers, fucking chicken packers, menial task operators, are you telephonists, or, you know, are you seamstresses? What the fuck do you do? You know, there's got to be 99% of you that are doing these menial fucking tasks. Well, your life is going to be changing massively very, very soon. What are you going to do about that? Are you thinking about that? Are you heading for the woods? Are you fucking selling everything and thinking to yourself that, yeah, you're going to head for the fucking Philippines archipelago, where there's 1,700 islands there, and you're going to, you know, build a little fucking shack? What are you doing? You doing anything? Or, like me, are you just watching it and, you know, loving it? And, you know, you don't have an emotional investment in any of it. It's happening. It's brilliant. It's wonderful. It is you. You are it. It's a fucking blast. And so, yeah, bring it on, aliens, and, you know, fucking this, that, and the other. I watched Arrival last night, by the way. And, you know, that was a pretty cool movie. And of course, the crux of the movie was that the protagonist, the star of the movie, could see into the future. She was always able to do that, and so she had that weapon, that tool, that ability, which would enable her to see things and warn humanity where the fucking world's going. You know, if anybody takes these people seriously. Anyway, guys and girls, there you have it. Enjoy.